The speaker series has a great history when it comes to our sponsors. We've had some of our sponsors who have been named here today have been our sponsor for each and every event we've had from the beginning. We want you to know how much we appreciate that. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Courtney Bryant, who will introduce today's panelists and lead us in the heart of this morning's discussion. Some of you may remember Courtney as she has moderated other speaker series events for us and always does a wonderful job. Please help me welcome Fox 5 Atlanta News anchor, Courtney Bryant to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. I had to set like 3 alarms to make sure I woke up early enough because I work the night shift at Fox 5, so I'm usually not awake right now. Well, I guess I'd be awake, but just not in public like this, and bright lights and on stage. But anyway, I will be fine. Don't you worry about me. I am so excited to be here and talk about the future of this great county. I don't live here. I'm actually a resident of Fulton County. I hope that's okay. But I always love coming here. I cover Gwinnett. We talk about a lot of things that go on here in the course of covering the news day to day, but it's not often I get an opportunity to be forward-looking and to really dig in deep on the issues and the things that matter to you who live here in Gwinnett. So I'm excited to get into the conversation, and I want to take a moment now to introduce our panel. All right, so first up, we have Chairwoman Nicole Love Hendrickson of the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners. Come on out, Nicole. And I know you haven't seen him in a while, but Jay Denard, COO of Northside Hospital, Duluth. Joining us as well this morning is Dr. Adrian Simmons, Chair of the Gwinnett County Board of Education. And last but not least, Kevin Carmichael, who is the Senior Vice President of Economic Development at Partnership Gwinnett. All right, we're gonna get into the discussion. I don't know if my microphone, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, we are so excited to get into this discussion with all of you. You all bring such a diverse perspective with your experience and what you bring to the table. So we're gonna start off with just a lightning round here, getting into some questions for each of you. We'll start with you. Nicole, Gwinnett 2045, when we talk about the vision, it paints a bold picture of where the county is headed. When you think about the year 2045, what is one word or phrase you hope will describe Gwinnett in the future?
Well, I have to go with one Gwinnett. I mean, that's the phrase that really centers this community, this county. It really is what unifies us. But even before that, I do have to give a shout out to Stan, because I can't think of anyone that looks at a strategic plan and says, I'm going to create an event around this and sell some tickets and put a rock star panel together. Yeah. And we're gonna have a great time. So shout out to Stan for having the idea to do this. I was part of creating the plan, so it's nice to see the work recognized, but it's also even more important to see the folks that are on the stage with me that are part of helping to carry that vision forward. And one Gwinnett is something that we can all unify around.
I love that. All right, next up, Jay Denard. Are you ready
I'll
for your question? Okay.
Don't make it too hard.
You'll do great. Okay, when we talk about the unified plan, it includes creating what we call daily communities where people can live and work, learn and play without a long commute. From your perspective, what is the most critical piece needed to make that vision a reality?
Well, first of all, I think it takes everybody coming to the table with the One Gwinnett vision. And let's give a shout out to our chairwoman, Hendrickson, who has done a tremendous job leading us. I always say that I'm the president of her fan club. We at Northside embrace the fact that even though we're developing a 15-story tower, adding 400 beds on our Lawrenceville campus, we have a philosophy of care close to home. Yes, we don't want people to leave the county for care, but do we have an opportunity to provide care even closer to their homes? And that's why we've had a focused effort on developing, as I mentioned earlier, the ambulatory sites that include at the anchor a primary care practice that would be in neighborhoods like Beaufort, Snellville, Gas South that we mentioned, but there's also some others out there. But we have some competitors in the room, so I don't want to divulge too many secrets this morning. But as we're focused on expanding that, recognizing that people really want to be able to live, work, and play as close to their homes as possible. And in order to do that, they need to be healthy. So I would encourage everyone, if you don't already have a primary care physician, please get one. I have a list. You can see me after the session. And that is our focus. And we believe that by providing those resources, folks are able to take that stress off of them from trying to get to a major complex, even though the hospitals are there for them. But how do we work on preventative medicine and disease management close to home?
Yeah, and I know on a national level, healthcare is such a big issue in our country. So
It's been in the media a little bit.
yeah, a little bit. We talk about it a lot, but especially when it comes to envisioning the future, it's good that you're focused on making healthcare a key piece of the next 20 years of Gwinnett. All right, great answer. All right, next up, Dr. Simmons. We know that children are our future. I'm not going to break into song. But when we talk about the future, education, that's a really key component. How we grow into the future, that is inevitable, but it's also a choice. What is one key decision we need to make today to ensure Gwinnett's growth is sustainable, equitable, and vibrant?
So when we think about the future and ensuring that we remain a vibrant community, we need to ensure that we make decisions in the best interest of people as humans. We should not look to distinguish the investments that are made based upon someone's racial background, their socioeconomic status, their language proficiency. We need to make decisions in the best interest of people. And so one of the things we do teach in our schools, which is very important to being successful in the workplace, is just these soft skills and making sure that you lead with empathy, that you think about how to resource equitably. As you know, if you have children, no two children are alike. And so that same approach when it comes to education and other decisions in a county applies. No two communities are alike. So just making sure to hear from stakeholders around what's important to them, where they would like to see investments made, and then moving forward with providing those supports will be very important to making sure we remain a very vibrant community and a community of choice where people choose to come to work, live, and play, and send their children to school.
All right, very good. All right, last but not least, we've got Jay Denard. Let's talk about...
Not back to Jay again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I malfunctioned.
Hey,
Kevin
they're always
Carmichael.
mixing us up.
Well, but like he said, best
I
class.
have better hair. What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just left such a lasting impression on me, Jay. I just keep coming back to you now. I'm so sorry. Kevin Carmichael, last but not least, we'll talk about the plan spanning several decades. How do you ensure that we don't lose momentum over time? How do we make sure it keeps going strong and we don't lose the vision in the day-to-day challenges?
I appreciate that question, and also I appreciate being on the panel with this distinguished panel. So I think that the main goal is setting out the priorities. And when we look at Partnership Gwinnett and the strategy that we have, there's three main pillars to that. So to keep that challenge is we focus on goal one around business. Okay, so every day the team is up recruiting, retaining, and expanding business in Gwinnett, in the region, and in the state. But then goal two, it's talent and workforce. And then goal three, it takes you into the community. So those challenges that arise day to day and those things, the innovation that can tie all three of those goals together will keep everything forward, but it also tackles on the day-to-day and then over the decades. So Partnership Gwinnett began in 2007. If you go from 2007 to now in 2025, just in Partnership Gwinnett, that collaboration has brought nearly $5 billion of capital investment. And if you look at just new jobs in that same time frame, it's nearly 38,000 new jobs into Gwinnett County. So those strategies and the collaboration and the partnerships, but also setting the long-term strategy at the same time it's really working for Gwinnett.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a key part of your role at Partnership Gwinnett. It's really creating momentum, getting those businesses, those partners to come together and just keep the vision moving forward. Very cool. All right, Kevin, I know your name now. Don't forget it. All right, thanks. All right, now we're going to get into some more specific questions for each of our panelists, speaking more to their individual roles and how they contribute to the vision of the next 20 years. All right, so Nicole, back to you. In your role as chairwoman, you get sort of a bird's eye view into everything that's happening. There's so much exciting stuff going on. We got a chance to talk about it a little bit backstage. But first, let's talk about how the Unified Plan emphasizes balancing growth with the quality of life. Of course, you're going to have change, you're going to have those growing pains, but we don't want it to be so uncomfortable for people that it affects them in a negative way. So how do you plan to balance that now and in the future?
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right, Courtney. I do sit in a very unique position in that I do have a bird's eye view and looking at all of the pieces that really make Gwinnett what it is. And I also have to make sure that all of the pieces are connected and that we're moving in harmony and that we're moving on accord towards the future. We are the second most populous county in the state of Georgia. It's no secret that Gwinnett County is growing and we're continuing to grow. The Atlanta Regional Commission just released their population estimates earlier this month, and over 64,000 residents were added to the 11-county region, with Gwinnett County seeing more than 15,000 of that. So we're continuing to grow and we're not stopping. And people are coming here for many reasons. I say we are a victim of our own success. Because of the great quality of life, our amazing school system, because of the amazing parks that we have, our quality of life, it's a safe community to raise a family, to expand your business, and to do whatever your heart desires. Gwinnett has it all. And so people are drawn to this county for many different reasons. And it's up to us as a county to make sure that we're connecting the dots, that we're ensuring that we're investing adequately in infrastructure. That means roads. That means that we have adequate water and sewer system. That means that we have quality of life. We also have to factor in public safety and have to ensure that we have enough officers that are in our communities protecting our streets. We have enough fire stations. We have to make sure that our courts and law enforcement agencies are equipped to handle the demand and caseload. We have to make sure that our businesses have what they need to succeed and thrive. We also have to make sure that we have adequate housing that's affordable at many different price points so that the workers that are coming here to jobs, to the businesses, to healthcare, to the schools can afford to live comfortably and safely. We have to look at all of that. And that is exactly what is included in our Unified Plan. And we did that with all of those pieces in mind. We worked very closely with our stakeholders. We worked very closely with our cities. I know that we have some of our cities in the room. We have the most cities in the entire state of Georgia. But we have to work collectively towards a common vision. We also have to work in unison with our school system as the largest school district in the county, which means we have the largest youth population. So we also have to take into account quality of life of the needs of our youth and families. And we have to ensure that workforce is equipped to meet the needs of the high demand jobs that the business community is attracting, that the chamber is attracting, that Partnership Gwinnett is attracting. We are at every single table. There is no conversation that is being had at anybody's table where county government is not at the seat. We have to be there. And so driving a unified vision, looking forward to the next 20 years, we have to work collectively together, but the plan really centers how all of those moving pieces work together, how we make those intentional and strategic investments, and what we hope to accomplish and who is going to inherit that community in the next 20 years and what we want to leave behind for our future.
Yeah, that's really well said. There's just so many things you have to think about when it comes to 20 years down the line. I mean, from the oldest resident to the very youngest. So it is interesting getting that look behind the scenes at what you all think about. It's a lot. I hope you're getting really good sleep at night.
I have great help.
Good. All right, next up to you, Jay. The Unified Plan identifies healthcare access, and you mentioned that in your first answer as a cornerstone of livable communities. How is Northside Hospital adapting and changing to meet the needs of a a growing and increasingly diverse population?
Well, one of the things that we really try to strive to do is listen, which can be a challenge at times. We obviously survey our patients on the inpatient side as well as on the outpatient, and we do take their comments very, very seriously and to the heart to try to understand how do we be better. Healthcare is built around a model of PDCA, plan, do, check, and act around performance improvement. I actually I was on the phone earlier with someone who shared with me that they had a patient that had not had a very good experience in one of our hospitals. I was like, are you serious? Are you sure you've called the right person? But in all seriousness, I'm making an effort along with other members of our leadership team. We're very fortunate to be under the leadership of President Debbie Bilbrough, who is over the Gwinnett market. She's our president and CEO. And Debbie is very focused on the fact of what we do one patient at a time. And we strive to not only mirror our community from the standpoint of what we try to do from a labor force perspective. It's very important that we recognize the needs of patients, that when they do come to us, they're probably at their most vulnerable. And so we try to make sure that we have an environment that is welcoming, but also an environment that we can communicate effectively so that patients can understand not only what is happening to them, but what needs to happen once they leave our facilities, once they do go home. And we engage the families in that. It's very important that the patient experience is not only the patient that's being served in the standpoint of a healthcare need, but also focus on that family as well so that they understand how they can continue to help. We also work very closely with our partners in the community. We're very thankful to have partnerships with the Gwinnett County Public Schools, with the county government, and obviously love being a part of the chamber and really sitting around the table to understand where are we headed. And it's important that we're really locked sync to do that. Again, as I stress, it's not just about bricks and mortar. We're very fortunate to have the resources to do that and to improve those. But we have a huge effort around ensuring that we have the right team in place to take care. Because, healthcare is not a transaction. Healthcare is a relationship. I often talk about that the healthcare relationship you have with a physician really is as sometimes maybe even more important than with your spouse or significant other. Because people come to us in their most vulnerable moments. And we have the privilege of working not only when the joy of a birth of a child, but also in the passing of a saint and every emotion that's in between. And so it's very critically important to us that we listen to how we meet the needs, because we're very thankful to work in a community and live, work, and play in a community with the diversity that we have. And we really strive to embrace that.
Yeah, I love that. As someone who's experienced the joy of a birth of a child and doing so in a hospital, not Northside, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, well, we're done.
Next time
Moderator, please.
Okay, I'll have to have my next child at a Northside hospital just for you.
Absolutely.
But you really do come there in a vulnerable moment, and you need to feel that your concerns are heard. And if you have to make those difficult choices about a loved one who might be receiving medical care, that's also important. And that's never going to go away. I mean, we're going to talk about AI a little bit, but you think about careers and fields where, maybe AI might transform the way you do healthcare, but that's never going away. We're always going to need those gracious and helpful hands to guide us through the healthcare system. So, great answer there. All right, Dr. Simmons, love to talk about education. Let's get to you. And here is your question. The plan's daily community model encourages walkability and accessibility. How can school planning align with this approach to better serve the students and their families?
Thank you for the question. And I have both my kids at Northside, by the way.
There you go.
Darn.
Continue to work on Courtney.
Work on that one.
You can stay.
Okay. Thank you. Of course, we have not just the legal obligation to make sure that our schools are accessible, but just morally and ethically. We want to ensure that not just our students are able to access their education, but that their families are able to come in and partner with us. And so we really pride ourselves as a school system in partnering with the Board of Commissioners, with the Department of Transportation, just to ensure that we have welcoming spaces when we think about the sidewalks, making sure that we facilitate pedestrians and those that may want to ride bikes coming to school each day. Our DOT has helped to create some roundabouts and some de-escalation lanes to address traffic congestion and to reduce speeding so that our students feel safe and secure on their way to school. We've even been as a school district looking into how to make our playgrounds more accessible so that students that have disabilities can enjoy some of the same physical pleasures that our non-disabled students are able to enjoy. If you have not before, I would encourage each and every one of you to take a look and visit Oakland Middle School. It's one of our special entity schools that services students with severe disabilities. And I'm a former classroom teacher and I worked in education 20 years. When I visited that site, it blew me away to see how much our school system is doing to ensure that students have access to a high quality education and how we're supporting parents with supporting those students at home with their learning. I will want to elevate this idea of making sure that our students feel safe is so critical at this time, especially at this time in history. We recently rolled out weapons detectors and are rolling out weapons detectors in our schools. In the past, that was not an investment that was even talked about, but in light of current history, current day events, we felt like this was important to roll out in our schools to ensure that students feel safe, to ensure that our staff feel safe. And I'm proud to say that we opened up our school doors not too long ago, and all of our classrooms were filled with quality teachers. We did not have a shortage. And so we're proud of the investments that we have made to ensure that our community, our students, our parents, our staff members are able to come and enter into welcoming schools where they feel included. And we continue to look to our partnership with community planners as we think about new schools that may need to be created or additions that may need to be implemented to address the growing population in Gwinnett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Sounds like an exciting future for the kids.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so important to address things that might not be so pretty. I mean, you talk about security. There's so many incidents that unfortunately we've seen happen where a student brings a gun to school, or there have been school shootings across the country. It seems like every other week we talk about this. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like something you can ignore when you're thinking about the future in your schools.
And we're definitely being proactive. We want everyone to come home at the end of the day. And so we're being proactive, and we're glad to see the progress we're making.
Yeah, that's great. All right, thanks for that answer. All right, Kevin, to you, finally. All right, Partnership Gwinnett emphasizes workforce development. So you're working with companies, bringing jobs, bringing industries to the county. How do you see the talent pipeline evolving into the year 2045 to meet the demands of the region?
It's all across the country and it's all across the globe is workforce, talent. Everybody's talking about it. Gwinnett has a great history of it here. We have a lot of those strengths, but then I can also talk through a few things of what we are working on for that next 20 years and where we see some things going. So as I mentioned in that Partnership Gwinnett Goal 2, the talent and workforce structure there. So we have, and also I'll back up, we're hearing the panel say partnerships, collaboration. I mean, none of us can go at it alone, and so it's phenomenal to have all of this together. And much of that is in this explanation as well, because we have a talent council that we do at PG, and it brings in the private sector, brings in the public sector, brings in the education leaders as well, and we set the table, literally. We get everybody around the table. We have that council. It meets 4 times a year, and then that workforce builds up to about mid-year. We turn to an event side, and we have a forum around that where it's a working forum, and we have honest conversations within all those groups, right? And we talk about where we are now, but where the future can go in workforce. And then by the end of the year, a larger summit of that looks back on the whole year. So within it, I will say there are 5 target industries right here within Gwinnett County. And a lot of those 5 target industries are going to drive the workforce and the talent discussions. So you have technology and IT solutions. You have healthcare and services. We have our supply chain and logistics, our advanced manufacturing. And then the 5th is our professional services, headquarters and front office. So among all of those, it's really the drive on Gwinnett has the talent, the strength is here. When we're talking about GCPS, that's 180,000 students right here in Gwinnett County Public Schools. When we're talking about Gwinnett Technical College, their enrollment right now is over 20,000 at Gwinnett Tech. And then GGC just came out with their numbers and they're over 12,000. That's all right here in our backyard in Gwinnett County and in those partnerships. So those are things that we're setting the table and we're bringing that collaboration and we're a catalyst for that. But within those 5 target areas, within those numbers and those strengths, those are also the areas that are going to drive us forward. So I think that 2 areas that our data is showing us is within that supply chain and logistics and within advanced manufacturing, because that's a clean manufacturing. So there's a skilled labor workforce that is a need out there. There's also the higher ed and the services professions and many others. But I think in those 2 sectors of what we're seeing here in our region and also specific within Gwinnett County, those 2 are probably the top in the workforce discussions.
It's really interesting to hear about the work that you guys are doing to bring in businesses, to make sure